Hello everyone. These are some prominent MPs from the UK Parliament. In the Parliament, MPs can interact with each other, but what about MPs' interaction with the citizens? The traditional style is where an MP goes back to his or her own constituency, typically on Fridays, and their constituents can meet them there. With the increased use of Twitter, there is now a direct communication between MPs and citizens. We looked at this direct engagement in our Tweeting MPs paper. Now, we are looking at the negative aspects of these conversations. Some examples of such negative conversation are shown in the top right. In this paper, we looked at these conversations in quantitative fashion. In this work, we present characterization of hate speech in political discourse with a case study of UK MPs on Twitter. This interdisciplinary work is in collaboration with researchers from the UK Parliament, University of Surrey, and King's College London. Today, I am Pushkal presenting this work. Although the increase in digital reach is bringing more people into politics, increasing online activity has led into concerns about online hate. There are numerous instances of MPs being targeted with hateful and offensive speech. According to a report from BBC News in 2019, several female MPs cited online hate as a reason they stood down before 2019 general election. Before going ahead, let me introduce you to the UK Parliament. This is the current layout of House of Commons. In the blue, it is the Conservative Party, which is leading the government, and in the red, it is the Labour Party in the opposition with some other parties like Scottish National Party and so forth. Prominent MPs sit on the front bench on either side and are known as front bench MPs, and the rest are called backbencher MPs. This is where the drama of British politics happens. In this work, we focus on 553 MPs out of 650 who were elected in 2017 general election and are active on Twitter. We ask two research questions. One, what are the characteristics of hate towards MPs? We understand this with hashtags, sentiments, and volume of tweets. And second, we ask who is targeted by hate speech? And we answer this using the demographics of MPs such as ethnicity, gender, and their party. To answer these research questions, we collect a large dataset. Our dataset collectively includes 2.5 million tweets from citizens mentioning MPs, 176,000 tweets posted by 553 MPs on Twitter. There are 293,000 unique users who mention these MPs and 4.3 million unique followers. We augment our data by adding MPs' demographic information using Menace API, such as their gender, party, and ethnicity. The period of our study is a 60 days duration 2017. A number of considerations led to this particular period as a choice. Since we wanted to understand online hate, we focused a period with EU withdrawal bill, also known as the Brexit, a period that is coincided with the blow-up of #MeToo movement in Westminster, leading to a number of high-profile resignations. This period also included when Parliament was on a break. For assigning the topic to a tweet, we begin by identifying several broad categories of hashtag with the help of two manual annotators. The manual annotation involved coding of top 1000 frequent hashtags to 20 different topics which cover 295,000 tweets in our dataset. The topics are based on policy type, party names, location, events, and so forth. The plot on the right shows the tweet counts per topic. We can see that Brexit and party politics are the most frequent used hashtags. We additionally check correlation between topics and find that it is less likely that hashtags of one topic frequently come with other topics. We develop and justify our methodology to label tweets with hateful label in two methods. In the first method, we use 18 different hate speech classifiers, which are based on two models, namely Wilson and Davidson, each trained on 9 different publicly available datasets. Our intuition is, if a large number of these classifiers consider a tweet as hateful, it is likely to be truly hateful. In the second method, we ask Google Perspective API and obtain toxicity scores of each tweet. After carefully applying these two methods, from the plot in the right, we find that toxicity more than 0.8 and agreement in more than 9 classifiers are optimum thresholds to classify hate. For more details of training and testing of thresholds, please check our paper. Now let's move on to our first research question, that is, what are the characteristics of hate towards MPs? We answer this with an understanding of topics, sentiments, and a pile-on effect of mentions in the tweets. In the first characterization, that is topics, we find that largest proportion of hate are related to hashtags under rhetoric category. This shows that presence of hashtags like hypocrite, fake news, and shame can be strong indicator of hate labels. On the other side, topics like welfare, environment, crime are less likely to receive hate. In the second characterization, we ask Clovic, which is a tool to obtain 100 plus tones in the text corpus. The plot on my right shows normalized scores for hate and non-hate subset of tweets. We can see in the top right that points in red are overexpression of swear words and sexual words. These are related to hateful tweets. Similarly, high overexpression is observed for anger and negative emotion. These tones are 10 to 30 times the amount of normal language in the Loic 2015 baselines. This is an indicator that hate consists of angry negative tone with swear and sexual words. Non-hate text, on the other hand, has negligible overexpression of these tones. When MPs receive hate speech, it appears that there is a higher probability of receiving hate when they receive high volume of mentions. The plot on the right shows the probability of getting hate in the bins of daily volumes of tweets. We can see that the increased amount of hate towards MPs attract a higher than usual proportion of hate. Overall, we see a pile-on effect, where if an MP is already receiving many mentions, say because they are in the news for some reason, the probability that they get hateful tweets dramatically increases. So citizens are piling on top of others who are already being hateful. But do you see that there is a threshold volume of tweets beyond which the dramatic increase of hate is apparent? Beyond about 2 to the power 8, which is 256 tweets, the probability increases from 0 to 1%, which is fairly high amount of online hate. For an example, let us take a case of MP Priti Patel. She was involved in a controversy and finally resigned as a cabinet minister in 2017. Immediately, people started talking about her with large amount of tweets directed to her. The plot on the right shows large amount of tweets in November. She was subjected to a pile-on effect of rising hate on Twitter of up to 1%. She belongs to a conservative party, an ethnic minority, as well as a female group of MPs. We explore if these features play a role in the amount of hate MPs receive in our next research question. Now moving on, in the second research question, we ask who is targeted by hate speech. In the first demographic type, we ask if there is more hate towards ethnic minority group. This group is compiled by British future think tank, and in 650 MPs, 52 MPs in our dataset represent ethnic minority. The CDF on the right shows clear difference in fraction of hate between the two categories. Ethnic minority receive more hate than the white majority. We don't see any difference when we split these into gender, indicating that both male and female MPs are equally likely receiving hate. In the second demographic, we break the tweet set by party of each MP. As mentioned earlier, UK Parliament has two major parties, namely Conservative and Labour, as well as other small parties. We can see in the CDF on my right that MPs who are Conservative, that is in the blue, have higher hate than other party MPs. Additionally, MPs who hold formal positions in the government, sometimes known as frontbencher MPs, also tend to get more hate. For other demographics, please check our paper. Next, we characterize hate with supporters of one party interacting with MPs of the other party. The party of an MP is clear. For users, we check followership of users to different parties. For example, user 1 follows only conservative MPs, so he is a conservative supporter. User 2 only follows Labour MPs, so she is a Labour supporter. Whereas user 3 follows more conservative MPs, so she is again a conservative supporter. In our dataset, we have 13 million collective followers of MPs with 4.3 million unique counts. So a user on an average follows 3 MPs. We find that only a minority of users, that is 22%, follow more than one party MPs, where except 3% the interest is unequal. This choice does not affect the subsequent result in our data. Generalizing these membership of MPs and supporters, the figure on the left shows how the supporters of each party distribute their MPs mentions among parties. For example, the highlighted box shows mentions 41% mentions by Labour supporters mentioning Conservative MPs. Similarly, the box now shows 32% mentions by Conservative supporters to Labour MPs. As expected, the highest proportion of mentions are toward MPs of the same party in the diagonal. Here each row summed to nearly 100. A similar plot for the subset of tweets that are hateful is shown on my right. Here the role is reversed, with most of the hate going to MPs of the other parties. It is even more interesting to see how the amount of hate with respect to non-hate volume of mentions. We see that within each party, that is the diagonal, the percentage have decreased. This means there is lesser hate in comparison with the volume of party mentions. Whereas party in the power, that is the Conservative Party, is overall receiving higher hate across the boards. With that, I would like to summarize and conclude my presentation. In this work, I presented a case study of hate towards MPs in the UK. We make use of large data set of 2.5 million tweets and make use of 18 machine learning classifiers along with Google Perspective API. We see that more than 9 classifiers and a toxicity score of more than 0.8 are a reasonable choice for classifying hate. We then discuss in research question 1 for understanding the characteristics of hate. We find that topics like rhetoric have the highest fraction of hate. We also see that lowic tones such as negativity, anger, and words related to swearing and sexuality are overexpressed in hate with a pile-on effect. In the second research question, we ask who is targeted by hate. Investigate this along with various demographics and find that ethnic minority MPs and MPs in the government are mostly targeted by hate. Finally, with the membership of users, we find that hate within the party is less likely and most hate is coming from the other party members. With that, I would like to thank my co-authors Oliver, Margarita, Noel, Nishant, and Edward. You are also welcome to check our previous paper and dataset of tweeting MPs from the link below. I would also like to thank my audience, and now I am open to any question.